Hi, Miss Melton here. So now that you have learned how to estimate angles, I'm going to show you how to use a protractor to measure angles. So this is a protractor, and I can turn it um, however I want, and it says the degree on the bottom, but most protractors, in real life, it won't say that. So 0 degrees, meaning it's straight across. So if you notice at the top, it says 90. And over on this side it says 0, 180, and over on this side it says 0 and 180. So a protractor has two sets of numbers, and they have an inside set of numbers and then an outside set of numbers. So the way I use a protractor is if I already have an angle made, I'm going to line it up. If I don't have an angle made, I'm going to show you first how to draw an angle using a protractor. So I'm going to start with a dot in the middle, right where we call it crosshairs, but right where the two lines meet, not at the bottom like here, but right where the two lines meet. So if I were to draw an angle, let's say I want it to be 40 degrees, I have to first decide, am I going to use inside numbers or outside numbers? So I'm going to use inside numbers, and I'm going to start at 0. You always start at 0, and I'm going to put a dot, and then I'm going to put another dot at 40. So now I have two dots at 0 and 40 on the inside. Now I'm going to take my protractor and use it as kind of like a ruler to help line up. Now I can draw a line right on the edge. Use it like a ruler to help me line it up. And then I have to take the protractor and move it to the other place. And I want it to go through, the two dots. I need to line up a little bit better. All right, now I draw a line right across that part of the protractor, and that is a 40-degree angle. I can also take the protractor and make a 40-degree angle on the other side by getting it back to 0. I want to line up perfectly straight. I'm going to get the dot in the middle to be crosshairs. Now I'm going to use the outside numbers, so now my angle is going to be pointed towards the left. So I'm going to put a dot at 0, and then I'm going to put a dot at 40. Now I can use my protractor to help me line up so I can make a straight line, 0-degree line. Now I'm going to turn it, make sure it goes through each point evenly. All right, now I'm going to draw a line. Now there is a 40-degree angle in this direction. So now I have two 40-degree angles that I've made. Now I'm going to also show you how to draw an obtuse angle. That's where it gets a little bit tricky because the overlapping of numbers, you really have to pay attention if you're using inside and outside numbers. That's why it's so important to estimate first. If it's bigger than 90, less than 90. All right, so first I'm going to draw a point in the middle so I can line it up. Now I'm going to take my protractor, line up the point in the middle. It's going to be my vertex for my angle, and I'm going to make it, let's say, 120. So I'm going to use my inside numbers to start. So I'm going to use 0 and then 120. Oops, that's more like 119. 120. Okay. Now I'm going to take my protractor, use it to help me line up the dots and draw a line straight through. Now I'm going to turn my protractor and line it up going this way. Oops. Make sure the dots. It's a little bit easier when you have a real protractor in real life. Now I'm going to line it up. Oops. And let me draw a line straight through. Okay, so now this is 120 degrees. Now, the reason why it's tricky when I'm using this as a, when I'm drawing, because now if I was measuring this and was already drawn, I go, oh, this is 60 or 120, because both the numbers are in the same spot. So you really have to look at your angle and be like, okay, is this past 90 or less than 90? And one way to help you do that is always look to find where 0 is first. So where's the bottom that you're measuring on the bottom of the angle? And that's 0. It's not 180. So the 0 is with the inside numbers, so I use the inside numbers. If I were to use the outside numbers, 0 would start over here, and then 120 would be over in this direction. And then I would be able to line up. I'm going to just freehand draw this as straight as I can. Not the best, but so 120 would be going this way, would also be 120. So now I'm going to show you how to use a protractor to measure angles. All right, so I already have an angle that I freehand drew. So I'm going to take the protractor and I'm going to move it, and I want the crosshairs of the protractor to be on right on top of the dot. Now I have to line up this part on the bottom with the 0, and it's almost lined up exactly. So let's see. Just want to get, now it's perfect. So now I can line up that, and I look at where 0 is. 0 over here is on the right side, so I'm using the inside, and I look at my inside numbers. I know it's obtuse, so it's all the way past 90. Now I look, it is between, and I always look at what is it between? It's between 150 and 160. So it can't be more than 160. Some people might look and go, okay, 61, 161, 162, 163. But no, you've got to look at what is the line between, and it is between 150 and 160. So 155 would be halfway in the middle, and it's about one past that. So I would say 156 degrees is the measure of this angle. Now, on this next angle, the bottom of the protractor I would have to move. Now, if you were doing this not on the computer, I would say the first thing I would do is I could turn my paper so then my protractor is still lined up the same, but we're going to have to turn the protractor. So I want to line up, and then I'm going to go to 0, and I'm lining up with the left side, so 0 is on the outside of this angle. It's here. So 0, 2, and it is again in between two numbers, so I really got to look at what is it between. It's between 40 and 50. I'm going this direction. So 40 to 50. Sometimes what you can do is if it doesn't go all the way, to the edge of the angle, is you can take your protractor and you can use it again as a ruler. Line it up and make your line a little bit longer than what the angle is on your paper. And that will help you see the numbers more clearly. So now I'm going to take it back. I went a little bit too far. Line it up to that 0 line. Now I can kind of see well, my line isn't perfectly straight, but it's about as good as it's going to get. So it's between 40 and 50. 45 is halfway in the middle. So I would say probably 46, almost 47, but I did mess up that line. So 46 degrees is that angle. This is 46 degrees in there. So sometimes you have to move your protractor or move your paper. Now this one is a big one. I have to move my protractor upside down to make this one. Let me find, okay. So I'm going to, can't find where I gotta move it to. Okay. So let's see, crosshairs go in the center. I want to try and line it up as best I can to the 0. Okay, now I'm using the outside of the protractor numbers because 0 is over here. And this is an obtuse angle, so it's going to go past 90 to, and again, I would have to draw an extension for my angle. To make it so I can see the numbers. That's not a great line. That's a little bit better. All right, now I want to get my crosshairs. Got to line it up to 0. My 0 was starting over here. Okay, so it is I had to draw it a couple times, but now I can see, okay, it's between 120 and 130. I'm not going this way, so the numbers aren't going this way, they're going this way. So 120 to, it's right in the middle, so it's exactly 125 degrees. So even if your angle is upside down, I would say turn the paper, but on this one you can turn your protractor, so you can see that this angle is definitely bigger than 90. It is 125. That's why estimating is so important when you're using a protractor. I'm going to show you some websites that you're going to be able to use to help you practice, and you'll have One Eye Excel that will also be. This is a measuring angles website. This is on Math Playground. So here, it's already got it kind of lined up for you. And what you have to do is you have to find what is the angle. I like this one. You can turn it if you just grab the mouse. So I'm going to line it up and go, okay, that's 0. That's 11. 0, 1 pass. I'm going to type in 11 and then press return. And it does tell you if the actual angle is 12, and it tells you you're 1 away, so it does let you go through with this. Now, you can measure an angle like this without turning your protractor, and you can say, okay, what is the amount of space in between? Looks like 21 to 89, and I could subtract 89 minus 21 and find the difference. Or, like if you lined it up and you write on 10, and you're like, okay, 10 to 78, so take away 10, that would be 68. Or I could line it up to 0, and then I'm using the inside numbers. 60, looks like maybe 67. Let's see. Oh, right on the money. And I can turn it either way, this way or this way. I'm going to turn this one this way. And that is, so I'm starting at 0 here, so I'm using the outside numbers. That is 25, maybe 26. I'm going to put 25. Let's see what it is. Oop, it was 26. So that is one website that you can use on Math Playground. This is a Math is Fun website, and I picked this one because you can press play on the video and it'll show you how to draw an angle by using a protractor, and it'll also show you how, like a quick little couple second video, how to measure an angle with a protractor too. This is Mr. Nussbaum's, and you can click on the protractor and move it, and you can also click here and rotate it as you need to, and then you type in your angle and then press next. So those are some websites for you to practice before you go on iExcel and do the practice for measuring angles there.